With permission, Mr. Speaker, I would like to make a statement on Israel and Gaza. As the House knows, the United Kingdom has long been calling for an immediate humanitarian pause to allow for the safe release of hostages and more aid to reach Gaza, then leading to a sustainable ceasefire without a return to destruction, fighting and loss of life. Yesterday, the international community took a significant step towards achieving that. We welcome yesterday's United Nations Security Council Resolution 2728, which reflected widespread international support for Britain's position and considerable efforts by our diplomats to secure a consensus. Mr. Speaker, this is an issue which can polarise and divide. But yesterday in New York, there was a shared sense of purpose. I'm sure the whole House would agree that we must capitalise on this moment. We want to see an immediate, sustained humanitarian pause which would allow for the safe release of hostages and more aid to reach Gaza. And that is what yesterday's resolution called for, and that is why the United Kingdom voted yes on this text. And that is why the government is now focused on seeing the resolution implemented as quickly as possible. This resolution sets out the urgent demand for the unconditional release of all hostages. Hamas must act on this now. The kidnap and violence on October the 7th was appalling. It has been unconscionable to hold them in captivity for so long, and it is dreadful to hold them any longer. We strongly support the intensive diplomatic efforts by Egypt, Qatar and the United States to secure their release. My right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, Lord Ahmed and I have met the families of hostages and reiterated to them personally our desire to see their loved ones freed and their agony brought to an end. We urge all sides, Mr. Speaker, to seize the opportunity and continue negotiations to reach an agreement as soon as possible. Yesterday's resolution also sent a clear message on the need for all parties to the conflict to uphold international humanitarian law and for delivery of aid to be scaled up urgently. This requires the lifting of all barriers impeding its delivery. Palestinian civilians are facing a devastating and growing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. His Majesty's government continue to reiterate these messages in their contacts with the Israeli government. And the government is exploring every avenue, Mr. Speaker, to deliver aid by land, sea and air. Last week, enough aid to feed over 250,000 people was delivered by land from Jordan. Britain is fully engaged in the international effort to set up a maritime corridor for aid into Gaza. And yesterday, the first airdrop of British aid by the Royal Air Force with the support of Jordan took place. Mr. Speaker, we do, of course, regret that this resolution did not condemn the abhorrent and brutal terrorist attacks perpetrated by Hamas on the 7th of October. The UK condemned these attacks unequivocally. We have been forthright in speaking up for Israel's right to defend itself and ensure such an attack can never happen again. We want Israelis and Palestinians to live in peace and security. An immediate humanitarian pause leading to a sustainable ceasefire is the best way to achieve a lasting peace. And we continue to work on the other core elements required for such a process to succeed. We have supported, Mr. Speaker, the formation of a new Palestinian government for the West Bank and Gaza under the leadership of Prime Minister Mustafa. An international support package is vital for building on Prime Minister Mustafa's appointment. We also want to see the removal of Hamas's capacity to launch attacks against Israel. Hamas can no longer remain in charge of Gaza. Finally, we need to offer a political horizon to the Palestinians, which provides a credible and irreversible pathway towards a two-state solution of Israel and Palestine living side by side in peace and security. Mr. Speaker, the resolution passed by the Security Council yesterday does not guarantee this outcome, but it is a significant step forward. The government will spare no effort in building on this opportunity. We want to create irreversible momentum towards a lasting peace. Mr. Speaker, I commend this statement to the House.